The difference between rich people, middle class people, and poor people is what they believe the purpose of money is. Poor people believe the purpose of money is to pay bills. That's the primary purpose of money in the mind of a poor person, pay bills. So the only reason they go to work every day is so they can get some money on Friday and hand it over to somebody else. Middle class people think the primary purpose of money is to establish good credit so they can buy things they can't afford and pay it off over time. Rich people understand that the primary purpose of money is to turn it into more money. So I'm going to take the money that I make, turn it into more money than I had, and then and only then can I be wealthy. I can only be wealthy if I hold on to my money long enough for it to get pregnant and have some babies. I want to take every $100 bill I get and put it in the money maternity ward. That's the mindset that is necessary to develop the skill set of investing.
Okay guys, so I'm over here at this job right here. You know, we cut the grass and you see don't have a lot of grass, but this area right here from the road down to about, well, right on this side of that stump grinding right there, that's the area that we're going to cover in sod. Now I told them $300 a pallet for me to lay the sod, plus whatever it takes to grade this. And there's a lot of digging we're going to have to do here. You know, there's silt fence. We're going to have to make this ground smooth and get some of these roots up. We might not be able to get them all up, but we're going to get a lot of them up. But my thinking is, and I told them that there's a few unknowns here. And the number one, I know what the labor is going to cost for the sod, and I can get an exact price on the sod. But what I don't know is what it's going to take to get that mound down. Now, according to the homeowner, they ground them stumps out really good, but you don't never really know. I'm telling you, and that's a big mound. They would have to go on pretty deep to do that. So my thinking is, and they only want to do 5 pallets this year. So y'all hang on a second. They got erosion on this side. I'm not here to fix that. They just want to get grass on the curbside, and 5 pallets ought to bring us back, you know, pretty far, you know. And we want to run a couple of pieces down the side of the driveway there where the erosion is so bad. But we're going to need some dirt in here, I think, too. This dirt is terrible looking anyway, and I don't want to do a lot of digging up here either. There's a lot of things that are, you know, I don't want to dig. I just want to get up, you know, scrape the ground where it's not going to, we're not digging, run the power rake, bring some dirt in here, run the power rake again, and let that be, yeah. Let's see, there's a mound. I don't know if it comes out on camera, but there's a mound right there that's got to be smoothed out, you know. So, and then next year we'll come back and we'll do 3 or 4 more pallets. But I'm good with just doing 5 right now. So, you know, 5 pallets at $300 a pallet, that's $1,500 just on laying the sod. Then I'm probably going to be at another $1,500 to get the ground right, something like that. Because, well, I mean, that's what it's going to take for me to do it. And they're down with it, you know. The customer's got to trust you, you know, and they got to trust your judgment. And though there's a story here, you know, every customer has a story. Let me get on the other camera and I'll explain to y'all the story of how I met these people. It's pretty cool. Okay, y'all, sorry about that. So there's a story with these customers right here, and I'm gonna tell y'all the story real quick on the way to the next job. So I was down at my storage unit way over in Sonoa, and this is how good things happen for people that ain't really, you know. So I was getting some stuff out of my storage, and my wife, she works up there, you know, she runs the place up there. So she called me and she said, you know, she said, there's a man up here that don't know how to get somewhere. Can you tell him how to get somewhere? And I'm like, yeah, and I was leaving, you know. So I pulled up over there at the office, and this older gentleman come out, and he was lost. He was literally lost, and he did not know he did not know his address, and he did not want us to call his wife. So and so I kept prodding him. You know, me and my wife were like, man, you know, how do we get him home? And he's driving. He's got a phone and everything. So my wife got his name. We got his name, and then we did a search on his name. He knew the name of the street he lived on, but he didn't know where he was at. And he didn't know what city the street was in. And I'm like, okay, you know, we're just trying to, you know, find him a way home, you know, or give him directions. Of course, we had just met this guy. So, to make a long story short, when it happened, we ended up getting the address. My wife Googled some stuff and found the address she thought was it, and I went down to the street view and took a picture of this house, and I showed it to the old man right there at the storage place. I said, "Is this your house?" He says, "Yeah, that looks like it." You know, he was confused, and I didn't want to leave him, and he didn't know how to use the GPS or nothing, and I didn't want to, you know. So what I did, and it's about 20 miles from here, the storage place, my house, and all that. 15 miles, 20 miles. So I had time that day, and you know, I didn't want to, but you know, so I told the gentleman, I said, "Look, I'll tell you what," and you know, I was just trying to look out for the elderly, right? I said, "I'll tell you what, man, just follow me, and I'll drive you home. You know, if he can follow me in his truck, follow me." I was in this truck, and so when we got here, his wife came out. She was hysterical. You know, she had been missing for, you know, 5 or 6 hours. Didn't know where he was at. She knew he kind of, you know, he got a little bit of dementia. And so she came out and she said, "How much do I owe you?" I know, you know, and I didn't know her from Adam. I said, "Oh, y'all don't owe me nothing. I'm just glad the man got home." You know. So this was back in probably January. So in February, March, I got a phone call from them because he wanted one of my cards. So I gave him one of my cards that day, and so then, you know, 5 or 6 weeks later, they called me and they said, "Hey, aren't you the gentleman that brought my husband home?" His wife is real smart. She got all her, yeah. So I said, "Yes, ma'am." And so she said, "Well, we want to hire you to do our yard." But see, I wouldn't take no money from her. She was trying to give me money, you know, for getting her husband back home safe. And, you know, we could always use money, but, you know, I wasn't sweating it, man. It wasn't a big deal. I was glad to be able to help the old man. So that's how I met them. And now I'm doing the yard this year, and now they're fixing to spend probably roughly $4,500 on me to do sod there. And out of that $4,500, I'll probably profit. Shoot, I'll probably profit. But they're probably going to spend more than that because the sod's kind of expensive these days. I'll probably profit $3,000. It's probably going to be a $5,000 job. I'll probably profit about $3,000 on it, and we could probably do it in a day with 3 people and the Bobcat. But that's how I met them people. So there's all kinds of ways that you can get more work. But the number one thing, man, or one of the number one things is you got to be a good guy. You got to be nice to people. You got to be willing not to win every time, right? You know, I don't win every time. It costs me probably $25 or whatever to make sure that old man got home safely. I couldn't. My brain would not allow me, and when I saw how confused he was, my brain would not allow me to just let that man leave that storage facility and not knowing where he's going. And something happened to him, now I would feel terrible when I was in control of the situation. And so I took the lead, and I just told him, look, follow me, and I'll make sure you get home. Once I showed him that picture of his house, you know, and that took 20 minutes, you know. So that's how I met them, and they're good people, and you know, and that's how you can meet a lot of customers. Well, I was just being me. You know, a lot of guys in the comments might think that's not me, but that's really me. You know, I'm always going to look out after the really young and the really old. That's what I feel I feel like that's important. I never in a million years, you know, considered or thought that they would hire me to do their yard, and thought that they would, you know, hire me. I never considered it, you know. So that's I think that's a great story, man, you know. And I think that's the American way, man. Can't never get too big or too busy to help out somebody that is, you know, in a bad place or less fortunate than you. You know, I live on that. That's what I'm all about. You know, one of my characteristics. There's a lot of other ones that might not be so nice, but that's one of the nice ones, y'all. Anyway, I'll kick back.